So, good evening, good evening, good evening. We are back again with another transfer video. This time we're going to talk about Joao Felix linked to a whole host of Premier League clubs, including the Arsenal Football Club. Whether we're going to get him or not remains to be seen. I very much doubt it. But we'll get into that in a second. Do smash the like button. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new. Big up to everybody who has. We're nearly on 75,000 subscribers, which is mad. Only been doing this 4 years. Thank you very much. Do make sure you drop your super chats in via the thanks option. That's down there next to the share button. You can share it as well, and do follow all of the socials. Make sure as well you do go check the previous video I did about Benjamin White and the real reason he got sent home from the World Cup. Yeah, the real reason he went home. Anyway, go and check that video out because I had a bit of a meltdown. I can't lie, I had a bit of a rant. So go and check that out. I just don't like him. Don't like him. Anyway, I'm sure he ain't going to lose any sleep over it. The show with Henry Wright is now tomorrow at 1 p.m. UK time. The show with Rants had to be cancelled because I had a big issue. This area is flooding everywhere. Not my apartment, but an apartment that we are linked with. Not far from here, is flooded. So we've had to go and help sort that out. So the show with Rants had to be cancelled, sadly. It's like tornado weather. It's mad. There was actually a tornado in my bay the other day. It is crazy weather, people. 70 mile an hour winds, rain is crazy. Anyway, I digress. Joao Felix, 25-year-old Joao Felix. One player that's, I think pretty much most people can agree on, is a top footballer. The problem for Joao Felix is he's playing at Atletico Madrid, and most people don't like their style of play. Me personally, I don't really mind. But Joao Felix is 23, not 25. Why does that article say he's 25? There's an article I'm reading that says he's 25. I was going to say he ain't 25. He's 23. Anyway, the 23-year-old is up for sale, apparently. Atletico Madrid are looking to get rid. But yeah, we're going to see whether this guy is actually going to make it to the Premier League. Because I'll tell you something now. Yeah, this guy is a top footballer, and I can understand why people are getting the up with Simeone, saying, "Oh, he's holding him back and this and that." Because if you let the shackles off of him, he could be superstar level. But that's not how Atleti play. Although they have been a bit more expansive in the last 18 months, which is why they're getting walloped every now and again. And why they're not doing so great. When they went to their ultra defensive tactics, they were winning titles and competing for everything. So maybe they should go back to that and get rid of Joao Felix in the process. But obviously Arsenal are going to be in the market, or would like to think they're going to be in the market in January. I'm not so sure anyone's going to sign this guy in January. And if they do, it's going to be a loan with an obligation or an option to buy. I'd say more so an obligation. Otherwise, they're not just going to loan out one of their best players. The CEO of Atletico Madrid, Miguel Angel Gilmarin, my Spanish is perfect, said of Felix, signing him was the biggest gamble the club had made in its history. I think he's a world-class player, but because of the relationship with the coach, his playing time, his motivation, it'd be reasonable to analyze the option for him to depart if one arrives. So there's clearly a problem with him and the coach. It's reasonable to think that he might leave, although I'd love him to stay, but that's not in the player's plans. Player wants out. Now, and this is the CEO of Atleti saying this, now it seems likely that the Spanish giants would prefer to sell Felix to a Premier League side, and Arsenal are said to be keen. I'd be over the moon if we signed this guy, by the way. Goal.com report that there are a host of English clubs interested in Joao Felix, including Arsenal, United, Chelsea, and Aston Villa, of all teams. Well, you never know. Unai Emery is there. While Bayern Munich are also interested, along with PSG. So there's a lot of teams queuing up for this guy's services. The problem is it's going to cost an absolute fortune. Oh dear. Apparently they're looking for at least 86 million pounds, which is 100 million euros. That is the minimum they will accept. Now listen, he has got a buyout clause in his contract of about £500 million or some ridiculous fee, probably more than that. I don't know. But in Spain, every team has to have every player on a contract with a buyout clause to protect the club, to protect the player. because they don't want their asset walking out the club for cheap price. So if you want him, you have to negotiate by hitting and saying, yo, look, it's 300 million quid. We ain't going to pay that, but we want to come to the table with a reasonable offer. Will you talk? Then you talk. Obviously, we're not going to pay 300, 400, 500 million quid for him. But is he worth 100 million? That's the problem. He could be a world-class player. I think he's a very talented player. He's not world-class, in my opinion. Not yet, anyway. He hasn't done enough. He's not really kicked on. Right, for me, he's not really kicked on. He's not shown what he can do. Maybe that's because he's playing for Atletico Madrid. Maybe that's because of the system. Maybe that's just he ain't got it. I don't know. Sometimes a club could ruin a player. We've seen that with many players over the years. We've seen it with Fernando Torres when he went from Liverpool to Chelsea. It just weren't the fit. We've seen it with Shevchenko when he came to Chelsea. Funny enough, all of these players played for Chelsea. Falcao's another one. We've seen it with so many players, though. You know, it's mad. It's mad. And I think that there is going to be a lot of interest in this guy. A lot of interest, because if you get it right with him, he is top class. He is. He really is a joy to watch. The problem is, I'm not sure anyone's going to go and do 100 mil on him in the Premier League. Man United would love him. I'm sure of that. I think Arsenal would love him. I think Arteta would love a player like that. But where do you play him? That's the problem. Do you play him as a second striker, which is his main position? But then who drops out of the midfield? Do we get rid of Odegaard? Well, I would. I'd take this guy over Odegaard in a heartbeat. But then do you keep Odegaard at the club on the bench? Would Odegaard then be happy with that? Would he want out? So there's a lot of things to think about when you sign a player. He can also play left wing as well, which I don't know. And he can play as a centre forward, as we know. But listen, I'm not too sure we're going to sign him. I'd love to sign him, but I don't see it. I don't see it, unfortunately. And this season he's bagged 5 goals, 5 assists, same as Jesus, which isn't too bad considering that he's in a team that are not the most attacking. So I don't know. I'd love to know what you guys think about Joao Felix, because listen, like I said, I think he's a top player, but the amount of money it's going to cost, the amount of wages, it's quite clear that he wants out. So maybe that could be something. Tap up his agent, which you're allowed to do these days. Get a deal done with the agent and say, look, we'll get him on loan. Yeah. And we'll have an obligation to buy him for 70 mil. Yeah. And we'll pay a loan fee of 15 mil to Atleti. So you're still paying the 86 mil or 85 mil. But you're doing it over 2 different windows, if that makes sense. So you can maybe budget a little bit better rather than blowing your load. I know you don't pay it all up front and all of that, and it's all staggered, but 15 million up front to get Joao Felix and then go from there. Maybe that could work. It's going to cost a lot of money in wages, though, isn't it? But if we could get Joao Felix for a 15 million loan fee and then buy him for 70 mil, I'm all up for that all day long. All day long. I don't see Arsenal ever doing 100 million pounds on a player, but I could see him doing 80, 85. I don't think we'd ever get up to that 90, 100. I don't think we're shopping in that market. But this guy could be the real deal, or he could be a massive flop in the Premier League. Who knows? I'd love for you to let me know. How often do you watch Atletico Madrid? Are you bored of their system? I actually like watching Atletico. I can't lie. I actually don't mind watching them. I love Simeone as well. I think he's class. Yeah, people just don't like defensive football. The art of defending has died out of the game, unfortunately. But I'm just looking at the table now. They are 13 points off the top after 14. Barca are currently top, 2 points clear. But Atletico are only 2 points off a second place. So a little bit like England, all the way down to, wow, there you go. From 3rd down to 9th is 5 points. Same as England. It's a tight season. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of twists and turns, but if they get rid of him, it's not going to be cheap. I'd love to know where you think he's going. Leave it in the comment section. Let me know. Where does he fit in at Arsenal as well? Who comes out? Who goes in? Leave all that in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, subscribe to the More League Gunner channel. I am going to be doing some videos on that come January, so I'm going to be doing a lot of content on that. So keep your eyes peeled. And it won't be vlogs; it'll be something completely different. But I'll come to that nearer the time. Make sure you drop your donations in via the thanks option, and I'll be back again at 1 p.m. UK time with Henry. Right. We're out of here. Adios, amigos. Ciao.